welcome to my page. As this is my first official video, I wanted to give an intro to my experience as a real estate agent and kind of what you can expect from this. So I'll try to make it short and sweet. I know nobody wants to sit here for an hour and listen to me drone on about my life. So I'll start off with the quick about me. I graduated college in 2015 from West Point with a mechanical engineering degree with a focus in energy. Immediately after graduating, I was commissioned into the Engineer Corps of the Army as a second lieutenant. My first assignment when I got to Fort Hood, Texas was as a sapper platoon leader. While I was a platoon leader, I actually went out and got my real estate license. Stupid me, I sold for Bitcoin to pay for my real estate license because at that point, there was no way that that was ever going to be worth anything. I sold those for $500 a coin. Maybe a year later, they were worth about $50,000 a coin. So that was sad. After finishing up my time as a platoon leader, I went on to be the executive officer for a forward support company. Really, they do the supplies for the rest of the unit. So that was a really cool way of getting into like the supply side from the combat engineer side. And then before the Army shipped me off to Missouri to finish out my last year, I worked on staff as an operations officer. And then I went to Fort Leonard Wood and I actually got to help out with USACE when that's the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, in case you don't know. And I got to help them out with the major flooding that happened down the Midwest. So that was a really cool operation that I got to be a part of. But then when I came back, I finished my last few months at Fort Leonard Wood and I got out of the Army 2 days before Texas shut down for all of the COVID lockdowns. Yeah, I wasn't really able to leave the house for a little bit, but then shortly thereafter, when they deemed realtors to be essential workers, I was able to start working, and that was when I really started full-time, was in 2020. And later that year is when I started my first flip. My first full year in real estate was 2021, and I did just under 40 transactions for a little over $10 million in sales. And about midway through that year, we started People First Realty Group, our team, so that we could really get more involved in like volunteering and giving back to the community and stuff like that. And to bring others into our goal of really just helping the community. 2022 was a pretty big year for me. Starting off the year, I went out with a couple of my friends and my now fiance to buy 65 acres of land in Terlingua, Texas, which is like right outside of Big Bend. And so we have plans to actually turn that into a big Airbnb campground. So that'd be kind of cool. It's a great place to go check out the stars, and now we'll always have a camping spot there and we'll never have to worry about trying to reserve one again. I also had my second flip, and then in September of this year, I got engaged to my beautiful fiance, Lori, as we also bought another house. And then just a little bit before that, I was able to pick up an 8-unit property. So it is my first commercial flip that I'm working on. We're 2 units through plus the exterior, so maybe 35-40% through that one. So that's kind of a quick rundown of at least where we are today. Again, I did another, actually got about 14 million in sales in 2022, and my goal is to far surpass that in 2023. So in terms of my passion, why I do all of this, as I kind of mentioned earlier, I love helping people. I enjoy that real estate gives me the opportunity to improve people's lives in a tangible way so that they can build their wealth or break these generational curses, and really just help themselves set up this generational wealth in general. I also realized that there's not a ton of help for soldiers, and so I've kind of made that my niche where I help people, yes, with investing, but in particular with their VA loan benefits. There's just not a ton of help, and so we're still working on getting on post so that we can teach more classes about the VA loan. I know it's probably one of the most well-known outside of using the GI Bill, but one of the most well-known benefits to veterans, but still there's a ton of people that have no clue, and I hate when I go into meetings and people are like, hey, I'm about to buy my last house, I can finally use my VA loan. I know you only get one chance. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry that we failed you because you could have been using that your entire life. So with that, a really big goal is to help educate people, and I love taking first-time home buyers through and helping them to learn the experience, and I especially love when I get to see them later as they become investors and they get excited about growing their portfolio more. So outside of helping my clients, I have two major volunteering passions. The first is helping the homeless, and the second is saving dogs. So I'm very big into both of those things. I would love to have a rescue someday, and doing anything that I can to help the homeless. Those are major passions of mine. So currently I'm working with HUD and the homeless outreach team in Killeen in order to provide additional affordable housing for the homeless and to really give them a hand up and get them back on their feet so that they can reintegrate into society. Someday I would love to have a large property where I can actually hire homeless in order to work there, offer mental health services, and really give a huge help into them reintegrating into society, because I know that there's so much more than just being down on your luck with payments. There's a lot of times that people have been involved in this for so long that they need to learn skills that are marketable in the business world. And then sometimes they have issues or traumas that they've gone through that they need help healing before they can go and reintegrate in general. So I want to have something that can kind of provide that A to Z process, so that we can bring them in, house them, clothe them, train them, and get them back on their feet so that they have everything that they need, not just a place to stay, but I have to start small. So right now we're working specifically on the housing side. And then on the dog side, I would love to own land and start my own rescue. That's been a passion of mine to help dogs in general. I think that they get a very unfair shake of things. And so right now we actually have two foster dogs that we are working on kind of bringing back to health. One of them was emaciated. He was about 11 pounds. We've already got him up to about 18, 19 pounds in just a matter of 2 weeks. So if that doesn't help show how emaciated this dog was. And the other was hours from being put down because he was on the adoption floor but was too scared because of past traumas that he's had. And so we're helping him realize that he can be loved again. So being able to help dogs and to home them and to give them the lives that they deserve, that is my second passion. And then in terms of my life in general, a big thing for me is that I want to just be an amazing father, which is where a lot of these investing things come in. I want to be able to have these passive investments, and I want to do them the right way. And so I believe very heavily in what I call ethical investing, which I can get into in a later video, but the biggest part of that is I want to be able to, yes, have that income so that I can live and I can provide for my family and be there for their events and not just working 200 hours a week. But I also want to use that to help other people, to show my future children really what it means to be a man and to help other people and make the world a better place. So a lot of that comes from my biological father. When I was younger, he went to prison because he was selling drugs, and my family was very fortunate that my stepdad, who we just call Dad, he came in when I was maybe 3-4 years old, and he's been there for us throughout the rest of that time. And so I was able to grow up kind of in his image and see what it's like to actually be a fantastic father. And so I want to follow in those footsteps. Now, in terms of my credentials, because yes, you now know a little bit about me, but why should you listen to me in terms of real estate information and stuff like that I'm going to be putting out? Kind of mentioned before. So since leaving active duty in 2020, I've sold 100 homes just by myself, and I have co-run a team that has sold another 100 homes. I currently own 13 rental units, 2 lots to build on, and those 65 acres around Big Bend that I mentioned before. And then in terms of my investing experience, I currently have 4 flips. I've done 3 years with short-term rentals, 3 years with long-term rentals, and I have worked with most creative financing options, from assumptions to subject to private money, hard money, seller financing. And so I've got a little bit of experience in all of these things pretty much, and so I can kind of talk through the pros and cons of each, and I've at least got enough experience to know what has been effective for me, and I am more than happy to walk through these things. I don't think there is any kind of guarded secrets in real estate. I am here to share all of the knowledge that I have. So last thing is, what is this channel going to be about in general? And so I aim to educate and hopefully clear the path for others to follow in my footsteps. I am not here to buy all of the houses in Central Texas or the country. I think that's ridiculous. I don't believe in the scarcity mindsets. I very much come from an abundance mindset. I think there is enough for everybody, and frankly, if I am able to help people, you are not my competition. You are a future collaborator, a future business partner, something like that. All it does is it brings us all up as a whole. And so early on especially, I'm going to be talking a lot about VA loans, house hacking, which is what I did immediately upon commissioning into the Army, investing in real estate. I'll do my deal breakdowns as well. I will walk through every step from how I acquired the property, how we kind of estimated cost, where I went wrong, what the profit margins were, whether it was good or bad, and kind of what I would do differently, and what I am doing differently so that I don't make the same mistakes again. If there's a topic or anything that you're particularly interested in, feel free to get in touch with me. My number is 512-803-7226. And my email is jankovichrealestate@gmail.com. I will put the information in the link below. But also feel free to message me on Facebook, comment on YouTube, really whatever you're watching this on. I am more than happy to respond, and I will cover whatever topics you're interested in, as long as they're appropriate. Have a good one.